Hi everyone. So today we'll try to understand how to map an empty array in a JSON message. Let's get started. Okay, so let's understand this with an example. So here I am in the Cvent developer portal. Okay, so let's try to copy this particular payload here. So let's copy this. Okay, and let's just paste it here. Let's just paste it here. Okay, okay, so our intention is basically to construct this particular JSON message. If you look closely here, we have a value array here, okay, and let's try to map this particular value array, okay, and our intention is basically to map it properly. If the value is not there, we have to map an empty array. It should be like this. Empty array means it should be like this, okay, like this. This is what I mean by empty array. Let's say like this. Okay, this is what it is by, this is what I mean by empty array. If the value is there, then map that value like this. Okay, so that's our goal. So let's try to um yeah, so let's try to construct this JSON. So let's say let's try to add a module. So let's add a module, choose module, and let's say JSON, and let's say create JSON. Okay, so I want to create this JSON, right? Okay, so basically this is the cvent mr JSON or something. Let's say generator. Let's copy paste the JSON message here. Let's save it. So this is the JSON message I'm trying to construct here, and let's save it here. Okay, and here you can see I have different fields to map. Okay, name, source ID, questions. Okay, as you see the questions we can add items. So what is the ID there? The ID is here, right? So just copy paste it. Let's try to hard code this ID there. Okay, and basically I want to map the values array. Okay, so basically if the values array is empty, then I will map an empty string, otherwise map the value array there. Okay, that's what I'm trying to do. Okay, so let's try to add this and let's click OK there. Okay, now let's try to add. Okay, so let's add another module. Tools, um, set multiple variables. Okay, and let's add a variable here where values array. Okay, so we need to construct the values array. Okay, how do you construct that? Let's add a we should have something called add array or something. um yeah, we have an add array, so let's try to add the array. So we'll add an empty array, and then we'll add some values into that. Okay, so basically we want a value of this is value 1, and this is value 2. Okay, value 1 and value 2. Okay, now value, what is the empty array? So let's map the empty array. The empty array should be like this. So just pick it up from here, empty array, and value 1 should be green. So let's add the first value of green and the second value of yellow, let's say. Okay, so this is the values array. Okay, so basically we are creating this particular array here. Okay, so let's click on add and let's click on OK. Let's try to run this module only. Okay, now let's see this. Here we have the values array. Okay, so we can map it now. So let's make this as the first module. So let's remove this, actually let's unlink this actually, and then let's make this as the first module, and then let's make this as second module. Okay, now let's try to align it properly. Let's save it. Okay, now we have the values array there constructed. Okay, now let's add a logic here. Let's click on edit here and let's click on map. Okay, so let's just remember this option, click here, and now let's try to map it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is if empty the values array, if empty, if the values array is empty, values array is empty, then I'll map an empty string. Okay, I'll map an empty string. Okay, else I'll map the values array. Okay, so values array is actually here. Let's go here and map the values array. Okay, so basically it means that if the values array is empty, I'll map an empty array. Okay, if you don't map anything, then there won't be any array there. Okay, let's save it here. Let's click on OK. Let's try to run this actually. Say run anyways, run anyway. Okay, let's try to run anyway. Okay, now here we are. So let's copy this actually and let's push it to a notepad actually. So let's push it here. Now let's plugins, JSON tools, pretty print current JSON. Okay, here we are. So basically, if you see these two, it's actually the same. So we constructed the value array here. Okay, value arrays here, green and yellow. We have two values. Okay, now what if I don't map that value? If I don't map the empty string, let's see that. Okay, what if I don't map the empty string there? So let's try to just delete this. Control X. So let's just map the values array. Okay, now let's save it. Let's click on OK there. Let's run, save anyways, and let's try to push it here somewhere. Okay, now what if I just remove this array? Okay, what if I just remove this array? Save. So I'm just removing the values array, so it's empty there. Okay, now let's see the option now. Okay, let's see the output now. Run anyways. So if you see the output, it's coming as null. Okay, so that's what it happens. That's what happens. Okay, so if you go to output bundles, okay, sorry, let's copy this actually. Let's push it here. Let's try to click on new there. Plugins, JSON, pretty print current JSON file. Okay, so here we are. See, it's coming like this, value equal to null, and that will not be the right payload to send to the API because it's actually an array, and then you are actually sending null values here. Okay, so you need to map it. You need the mapping to be like this. Okay, or it can be like this as well. Green, this is a valid JSON, but null is not a valid JSON. Okay, so that's why we did that mapping there. So if you see the mapping that we have designed previously, so let's go and just go to the previous version. Let's say restore, I think this one. Save it. Let's try to, yeah. So now let's try to remove. Now let's try to run it now. Okay, run anyway. Okay, so now let's see the output here. It's just taking a bit of time. Okay, here's the output. So now you can see it's coming up properly. Okay, let's now remove this value here. Okay, so now we have an empty array. Let's see the run now. Let's try to run it once again. Okay, now if you see this here, you can see the output coming up properly. It's an empty array there. So let's go and just copy paste it here. Plugins, JSON, pretty print. So here we are. We have an empty array here. Okay, so that's how you do a mapping of the empty array. Okay, I hope this was useful. Have a great day.